Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming. Here on Twitter, as well as those of you on YouTube, what's happening? Mayday, Mayday. Well, literally and figuratively. May 1st, 9:15 p.m. Pacific time, Friday night. What's happening, people? Busy night in the association. Season over for one of the three teams at risk this evening. Not so fast, my friends, in Detroit as well as Toronto. As the Kawhi, is it the Halliburton shot or is it the Kawhi shot? I guess we need to discuss that. But 3 games, a lot at stake. A couple of bangers to start off tonight. I know the West Coast game disappointed a bit, and Houston certainly didn't run out of gas. That is not the narrative coming out of this one. They ran out of talent, as LeBron James was not interested in entertaining those even before the game started. Can you imagine if the first 3-0 series lead to be fully come back from, which has never happened in NBA history? There's been several instances of teams coming back to tie the series at 3, but ultimately fall short in game 7. If the first ever team to blow it was the Lakers in a vacuum, is insanity. Like, think of the jokes and the memes if you thought the Clippers got it bad in the bubble. But for a LeBron Lakers team, we're not doing this. No, sir. This game ends tonight. Puts his foot on the throats of the Houston Rockets, and they just, unfortunately, don't have enough without Kevin Durant. So we'll talk about it all. Back-to-back nights here, Friday evening for a lot of you. Maybe we'll get a police chase at some point, but for now, we talk hoop. All right, 3 games to discuss. This is meant to be an interactive Q&A, people, so feel free. I promise I won't just yap. I won't just yap like last time. I don't have that much like the Minnesota game to yap about. But I am curious what the chat thinks, if that should be known as the Halliburton shot or the sequel to Kawhi. Now, there's context to both. But first, let me address the chat. CX is here, says, what's up, Wob? I was fooled into thinking that the Rockets are back. Big moves have to be made this season. That was brutal. Well, you know where you start? By trading Kevin Durant. That's where you start. I don't know if that's what you want to hear, but that's where you start. It's the player with the most assets. Or you're going to keep Kevin Durant there, and you're going to trade Alperen Şengün, and you're going to have to trade Amen Thompson to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, which you're probably not going to do, but that's the market price. So what type of moves are we making here? Because Amen feels untouchable. Şengün is like he's going to be the Western Conference's version of Brandon Ingram. They don't have games similar, but he's going to be a guy who has a ceiling of like being one of the last all-stars let into the game, which is a fine career. I think like a Vucevic type of career arc. But Şengün has kind of proven to us after these postseasons he can't be the best player on a championship team. As of right now, I don't know if the potential there is either. So you do one of two things. You trade Kevin Durant, and you start to replenish some of those young assets back that you traded Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks in the picks for. There'll still be a market for Kevin Durant. Can we just give Kevin Durant to a different team every year? That's kind of the arc that he's been on for the past couple of seasons. I know he's with Phoenix for a little bit. He was with Golden State for a little bit. He was with Brooklyn for a little bit. He might be with Houston for a little bit. But let's just move Kevin Durant. Every franchise gets Kevin Durant for one season before he retires. Now, you certainly don't want him in year 35 of his career. That wouldn't work out very well. But yeah, this Houston team, unfortunately, as currently constructed, even with a healthy Kevin Durant, we saw the way that those final 5 minutes looked for a majority of the season. It is so like top heavy, built around the star, and they certainly solved some of their problems that they had last year with not having that real go-to bucket getter, but they don't have enough around him, particularly in the shooting department. So when your starting lineup, let's say if Kevin Durant is out there, what's up, Chad? I see you guys. I see Cast Media says that was a big L for the Hate Watch squad. A game 7 on Sunday with LeBron potentially blowing a 3-0 lead is like joke. That would have been NBA Twitter's best night ever. and Twitter is a shadow of what it used to be in the early 2010s, mid 2010s. If LeBron blows a 3-0 lead while playing for the Lakers, it's the perfect storm. It would be the best night in Twitter history. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen because they're about to get swept by Oklahoma City. What was I saying? Oh, so surrounding Kevin Durant, let's go through the starting five if everyone is healthy with the exception of Fred VanVleet. You know what? Actually, let's do this with Fred VanVleet next season if he's expected to return. Kevin Durant, Fred VanVleet, Alperen Şengün, Amen Thompson, and Jabari Smith Jr. I would say 60% of your starting lineup are three-point shooters that the defense has to respect outside the three-point arc. Unfortunately, despite Amen Thompson's athleticism and Alperen Şengün's technical and fundamentals down low, they are never being guarded outside the three-point line. And we are in an era of pace and space right now where spacing has to be the most valuable currency. I am pivoting my mindset from like in years past, especially because of like the Jokic and Murrays and some of these teams up until last season. It's always the veteran duos that know how to execute in the half court. But if we learned anything from the finals last year with the Pacers and the Thunder, those are the two deepest teams with the most versatility of any roster in their respective conferences. They have hockey shifts of guys that can go out there. Sorry, let me pull up the chat. What's up, everyone? Yeah, I'm reading the chat. Sorry, I'm doing a little rambling here, but just bear with me. Speed kills, and speed forces any team to have to change their game plan and play their less preferred style because Denver does not want to play in the open floor. The Knicks, the 76ers, they don't want to play in the open floor. The Boston Celtics want to. They want to shoot a ton of threes, right? They want to space you out. They want to stretch your defense. Oklahoma City wants to play in the open floor. Last year's Indiana Pacers, of course, want to play in the open floor, and they got guys coming in every 30 seconds, it feels like. That's why we call it a hockey shift. Hockey shift. Why did I sound like I was from Boston? But the Houston Rockets are a flawed roster. So Josh Okogie, Amen Thompson, Şengün, Tari Eason. There was a stretch during the regular season that Tari missed. He missed every three he took for like a month straight. When 40% of your roster on the floor at all times, and that's at a minimum, by the way, because when KD or Fred VanVleet are going to come off the floor next year if they run this back, then it goes from 60 to 40. When 3 out of 5 guys can't shoot threes, it changes the entire defensive dynamic. Now everyone starts going underneath screens. You telegraph your pick and roll, and both defenders just start backpedaling into drop coverage. Go ahead and shoot that shit. We don't care. So now Kevin Durant can't operate. He can't get to his preferred spots on the floor, which is that little mid-range pull-up or potential entry pass down on the block or living on the elbow, the free throw line extended. It's impossible to get him the ball where he prefers, which is why we saw a whole bunch of dribble handoff action to him this season around the logos. What does that do when you give him the ball 35 feet away from the rim? Even if he's able to break down his defender, the one that's assigned to him, there's 2 more guys waiting right behind him because everyone's cheating off their dudes. This is just not a sustainable formula in the year 2026. It's not an indictment of Kevin Durant's ability. He's still probably one of, if not the best hero ball players in the world, but it's not sustainable considering there's 15 possessions in the clutch. Kevin Durant's the best in the world at making those tough shots, and he can give you maybe 5 or 6 out of 15. That is not a formula against the Thunder and the elite teams in the Western Conference, including San Antonio, that you are ever winning a game, let alone 4 out of 7. So in my opinion, I'm saying trade Kevin Durant because you can retool your system to be more fine-tuned to style of play in 2026. You can get those pieces back. If you decide to run it back as currently constructed, then you're going to have to find a way to include another floor spacer that provides a Robin or second, third wheel type of value in regards to offensive creativity, gravity, space creation, or proper spacing. Who is that guy in Houston? They don't have it right now. Okay. Oh, did I misspell? Wow. I really butchered the late night with Wob. I think I really butchered late night with Wob. Sorry. And I forgot an O and an M in the title. I tried my best. I was in a rush to get this show up for you guys to be let me change it now. Wait night with Wob playoff. Okay. There we go. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it doesn't shut down the stream. Much better. More chats. I got a bunch of them. Let me run through right now. Can't wait to see the Lakers get swept, says THLR. They will get swept, yes. 4-0 OKC. Malay Connor says Detroit basketball. We'll get to that in just a second. Naughty Toddy says, is losing BI addition by subtraction for the Raptors? No. I mean, they won that game tonight because they, similarly to the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, when you're at home, the role players always get juiced up with that unlimited turbo from the crowd. They were so good at getting to those 50-50 balls. We called them 80-20 balls after last night. I'm kind of curious to see what the final numbers were. I'm going to pull it up right now for y'all. Why can't this just be easy? Okay, here we go. Game charts. I have to put up a warning before I put the game chart up, the shot chart up for the Magic Pistons game. Second chance points. It was actually Cleveland who doubled up Toronto. Would you look at that? I'd be curious what the loose balls looked like. Cavs beat them up on the glass 52-38. These statistics suggest that my eye test is not correct until you see the fast break points or where it makes up for it. 20-6 for Toronto. So these teams that are devoid of talent compared to their opponent, because on paper, listen, Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, it's just endless, star power for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we have seen these teams that are shorthanded solve that problem by turning the pace of the game up, particularly when they're home. So to see 20-6, that's a 14-point difference where Toronto was able to make up those deficiencies on the glass that they had for a majority of the regular season, as well as the size advantage. That's how you nullify the size advantage of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Get out into the open floor and make them play defense for, 48 plus 5, 53 minutes. They did a great job of that tonight. Can that translate to Cleveland where they're yet to win a game? I don't know. And they were certainly the beneficiaries of the RJ Barrett three-pointer. Now that we have more people in here, chat, do you think it was the Kawhi Leonard shot or was it the Tyrese Halliburton shot? Well, I lined them up in case you guys missed it. So based on aesthetics, I mean, this is the timing, the shot release, where it hits on the rim and falls through is a carbon copy. It is a clone of Halliburton's shot at Madison Square Garden. Now, the difference is RJ Barrett's was to win the game and Halliburton's was to force overtime. And also, since it's Toronto, we all remember the Kawhi shot out of the corner and what was at stake. This is with the season on the line. So I think we should call this the Kawhi shot more than the Halliburton shot, considering the history of how necessary the shot was to prolong the season. And Raptors fans had to be thinking, I mean, the Jamal Shed shot at the end of the Jamal Shed shot at the end of regulation, when it first missed and then it touched the backboard, I was like, wait a second, that is not a missed shot just yet. And then it hits the side and the front of the rim and it just comes off. You can see Harden leaning on it too. I thought that had a real chance of going in. But it just misses off the side. And I'm like, well, I was watching that shit. I was leaning my head like Kawhi was in the corner and you could see Joel Embiid trying to peek around the backboard. But considering that the Raptors have had one of those moments before, I was leaning towards calling that, the Kawhi, the sequel to the Kawhi shot. But it looks like Halliburton's, considering where it hit on the back of the rim and it bounced straight up. And the angle from above, people, did anyone think that it hit the camera up there? I thought for a second it may have touched equipment because it bounced so high. And when they showed the bird's eye angle of it, it was, it missed the camera by like a millimeter. If it touches any equipment, I'm pretty sure it's a dead ball. Can you imagine if it hit the clock, or I'm sorry, not the clock, if it hit the camera, it went through, and then they had to go review it and then tell the crowd it doesn't count because our camera was too low? Oh my God, the shitstorm. And then it ends the season. Holy shit. Chat says it's a mix of both. Swish says Hallie was a bigger deal, but it's deja vu. Cosa Nostra says it's like Halliburton, but feels like Kawhi because the jersey in which arena it is. Right. So it's a combination of both. So we'll call it a basketball fusion play. There's a big controversy going on here in Los Angeles right now because there's this place in Culver City. It's really popular. It's a Peruvian restaurant, and they've been making burritos with like a Peruvian twist, and they're getting called out by the Peruvian community. But it's so popular that there's like a line out the door. So they're battling. They don't want to like disappoint their Peruvian heritage, but like, man, people like this shit. So they're calling it Peruvian food. That's what I'm getting at here. This is going to be a Hallie Kawhi fusion play. All right, let me Kawhi's shot was on the side of the court too. Right. I mean, it was from the corner. I understand it was from the corner and it looked different, but it was Raptors and the season ends practically if he doesn't make that. It's more of the context of the team, the arena, and the rims there in Toronto are super forgiving. Raptors bounce, says Ewokies in the chat. Yeah. More Wolves guys in the chat. There was a different Wolves guy last night who said, let's talk Wolves. I don't know who's the real let's talk Wolves guy. You know who I'm talking about. People that used to watch Radio Roulette. Kevin Hinn says, congrats on your Knicks advancing. Thoughts on the Pistons? Yeah, so talk about that one real quick. Are we ready to look at this shot chart? I mean, just gritty fucking win for Detroit. You'll have to be so excited. Unfortunately, Detroit does not have the talent that I think any of us thought they may have, being the top overall seed in the East, but they got some fucking grit. And they really just need to wear they just really need to represent what's on the front of the jersey sometimes. And boy, do they do that. But it certainly helps when the Orlando Magic give you this. I mean, this is, okay, so they missed 3 corner threes. This is the fourth quarter for the Magic we're looking at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 misses beyond the arc. Now, I don't mind the misses like in the paint and stuff because like one of those red X's was Asar Thompson jumping off a trampoline to block Wendell Carter with what he probably thought was going to be the easiest dunk of his life. I understand Asar Thompson is a legitimate liability on offense. Like no one's even paying attention to him, but he uses that open space. He can stay on the floor because he uses that open space to lurk, to create second chance opportunities. And he's an absolute demon on defense. I mean, like defensive player of the year level type of defense. And I also, you know what I also found super interesting in this game was they made their comeback when Duncan Robinson was actually getting his rest at the end of the third, the beginning of the fourth. He is the only floor spacer that they have. Tobias Harris, Javonte Green, Dennis Jenkins, Jalen Duren, B-Ball Paul Reed, Beef Stew, Karis LeVert. There's no Kevin Huerter. They are the Eastern Conference version of the Houston Rockets when it comes to floor spacing and such. The good news is they're looking at themselves in the mirror, which is a a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because the Orlando Magic as well have stretches of 23 missed shots in a row or 22, whatever the record was. And they had a stretch in game 4, which they somehow ended up winning. They had a stretch in game 4 where they missed 12 in a row. So 23 and 12. So they're going up against a team that is not punishing them for their inefficiencies and deficiencies, both outside the three-point arc. That will change, certainly, as Detroit progresses throughout the Eastern Conference playoff bracket. But even up by 20, like 20-point leads in today's NBA, people feel like a field goal in football. I mean, 20-point leads mean absolutely nothing. Nothing. Especially if they're in the second, third quarter before you get to the fourth. Now, you'd certainly prefer to be up by 20 points as to behind. But the star power of Cade Cunningham hitting a couple of those little mini step backs in his comfort zone at the elbow, like they have a player that Paolo Banchero's going to have to keep up with for 7 games. He did it in game 5, matching those 45 points. But like Paolo cannot afford to have an off game because Cade is just unrelenting. He was the difference tonight. Even if he's not making the shot, his gravity, getting other guys open, because Jalen Duren is a 0 right now. Like it is, I don't even know. It's not even Jekyll and Hyde with him in the playoffs. I don't want to say he's unplayable, but his impact, he just can't assert his physical dominance like he can in the regular season. He's like a big man Harden. Just no chance of doing anything productive out there. So then where else does Cade go? Duncan Robinson is supposed to be the one floor spacer that you can't help out of the strong side corner against if Cade Cunningham goes right and it's Duncan standing over there. You got to stay at home. Otherwise, Duncan Robinson's going to get a wide open shot. But they have no one else on the floor that the defense is going to respect. So when Duncan Robinson is off of it, I figure Cade Cunningham is going to be looking at the equivalent of like a 1-2-2 zone. Think about it, a diamond 1-2-2 zone, because the defenders, there's going to be one defender at the left side of the free throw line, the elbow, one at the right on the elbow, because they are cheating an extra foot or 2 closer to the paint. Those red X's on the side, imagine those were Pistons spot-up shooters. Against a good team, the help defense is going to be closer to the red X's. Against a bad shooting team, the help defense is going to be closer to the elbow and the block. And that's what Cade Cunningham faces every single night, which is why you have to be able to hit some really difficult, I don't want to say inefficient, but not analytics approved mid-range jumpers, because there's just nothing else available. You can't expect Cade to break down 5 guys who are setting up a wall in the paint. Now, if you have Duncan Robinson on the floor, one of the 4 guys that I just mentioned here is required to stay closer to the corner red X's. So there's a little bit more space it gets to operate with. Jalen Duren, nobody's leaving, right? He's just kind of lurking on the block, so the help defender can stay attached without being punished. So what the Pistons are asking of Cade Cunningham, who had a collapsed lung not too long ago, by the way, what they're asking of Cade Cunningham, I don't think is going to be sustainable for them in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and it will ultimately be their demise is their lack of shooting. But for now, they are one gritty-ass team. They did the shit during the regular season. They had games where they fell behind. Even during the playoffs, they come out like the 2010s Warriors in the third quarter. JB Bickerstaff got into those boys at the end of the regular season to the point that it made me change my coach of the year vote from Joe Mazzulla to JB Bickerstaff because of the way that the Pistons looked without Cade Cunningham and how they just committed defensively. Like something happens to these guys in the locker room where they rally. One of those Disney movies, man, where there's a motivational speech. Al Pacino gives it in Any Given Sunday, and they come out there, and yet again, the Pistons respond. They fell behind early in the third, but they get up off the mat, man, impressively. So I think they're going to win game 7. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be another grind. This has been a phenomenal series for any of you who love 90s basketball. Like, there is no dominant shooter out there. This is just a rock fight every single night. And it's different from like the Magic Cavs series. I think that went in 7 as well. Some of those, the Magic always play in these rock fights. But for them to win, they're going to need something more than Paolo Banchero. They're going to need somebody to make a long distance jump shot. Do they have enough with Jamal Cain and De Silva in a game 7 too? Like, who's going to be their version of Terrence Shannon Jr.? Who's going to be their version of Julian Strawther game 6 last year? Anthony Black. Good luck in that place. I mean, Detroit is going to sound like the walls of Helm's Deep before those orcs charge the wall. So they got to face that now. Malik Connor says, where do you think the likely landing spot is for Kevin Durant if they try to move him? This is going to sound crazy. I don't know. Actually, they can't do it. I was going to say, if, like, you know, the team that actually has the assets to trade for him, but then their cap table would be so fucked up. Because how much does Trae Young and Anthony Davis make? And then you just add Kevin Durant to that team, and all of a sudden he's back home. He plays home for another season. Could you trade Koulibaly, Sarr, a Bub? The Rockets want to rebuild, you know, add some younger pieces to go back to doing the youth movement thing. And then all of a sudden you have Trae, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant, who may be willing and able to play in his hometown for once. I just don't know if they have the contracts to pull that off, because you have to match money. I don't know if they have a contract big enough to do that, but it was the first thing that came to mind when you asked. Jets, KD to Sacramento, KD to Seattle when expansion hits. I wouldn't mind that. Wolves guy says, let's talk Wolves. So, Wolves guy world, are you the, again, how you need to prove that you're the actual Wolves guy if you're going to keep screaming at me in the chat? How would I, because there was someone different who claimed to be the Wolves guy last night. Carly, the pain is over. Sometimes you just wish for just get this over with. Like, I'm tired of having to support this team. I know we're not winning shit. We're stuck in purgatory. I feel your pain on that. And it's not even a fun, overachieving team to root for, because when my New York Knicks made the playoffs coming out of COVID, that lineup, when Obi Toppin threw down the dunk against the Atlanta Hawks, the lineup on the floor was Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Obi Toppin, Reggie Bullock, like, and then was Derrick Rose. I forgot who the fifth guy was. One of those teams where you're just laughing at, like, come on, we can't be seriously in the playoffs right now. Overachieving team that busted their ass. Super fun to root for, but you have an expectation for them that they're probably going to get bounced in the playoffs, and they did. But this team wasn't even fun to root for, honestly, if I'm a Rockets fan. I don't know if the original Wolves guy would be this annoying in the chat. I think this is a fake Wolves, the fake Wolves guy. Let's talk Wolves guy. All right, keep it going. I'm reading some chats here, catching up. Oh, you might be the real Wolves guy. I called for the clearing of Cat. You did call for that. Duran against Mobley in a game that matters, and you're talking Duran. Oh, Evan Mobley, by the way. So he goes 3 of 3, 3 of 3 in game 5 from beyond the arc. The last time that he had made 3-pointers in a game was like February 26th or 24th. And then tonight, what did this dude finish with? Evan Mobley, 3 of 7, pretty damn decent beyond the arc. I don't know what's up with him and his free throws, guys. He needs to go see a sports psychiatrist during the offseason. He needs to go see his free throw percentage has fallen off a cliff. And it's to the point that he needs help. He needs the DeAndre Jordan sports psychiatrist. He's lucky to go 5 for 8 tonight. If we walk out of here with a 62.5% free throw percentage, that feels like a win. But also, guys, James Harden was, if it wasn't for overtime, so he finishes 5 of 14 from the floor and 4 turnovers. So before overtime, he had 3 field goals. And this was going to be the 3rd straight game in Toronto that he would have had more turnovers than buckets made. Now, he did contribute in other ways. 5 offensive rebounds tonight, and they needed a lot of those at the end of the game. He also had 9 assists. But I am so done with him in regards to this telegraphed, pointless, aimless, non-innovative pick and roll that they run with Dean Wade, who comes over, brings another defender. He doesn't even use it. And then Harden just stands up there, starts dribbling. And Donovan Mitchell's in the corner grabbing his shorts. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell was gassed tonight because he got 26 shots up. I don't know if he just didn't want to be included in the action, but you could see in overtime, there were many instances of him just going to the corner and saying, "You got this," while he grabbed his shorts trying to get a breather. And it's understandable considering he played 41 minutes. They were in overtime and maybe he's sick or something, but that has to be Donovan Mitchell time if you're going straight ISO. And there was a play where Donovan Mitchell was trying to avoid Scotty Barnes because Scotty was picking him up full court. And Donovan almost turned it over. And then when he finally got rid of it, he just retreated to the corner and turned his back to the action. How gassed is this guy? But watching Harden operate in the half court, man, it is just such an inevitable failure. If he's going to decide to actually take the shot, he's at his best when he's table setting, when he is, initiating offense for others, when he's setting up Evan Mobley's lobs. Donovan Mitchell threw an incredibly terrible lob to Mobley. How bad the pass has to be to miss Evan Mobley? Harden should be the one setting up the offense, but the offense should not just be basic ass pick and roll that leads to an ISO hero ball shot after 12 seconds of stationary offense. The Cavs are hard to watch because they have the star power. But if it wasn't for Evan Mobley hitting a couple of those massive bailout threes once again for the 2nd straight game, Toronto would have won this rather easily in the 4th. And then who the hell knows what's going to happen in game 7? If the regular season's a different sport from the playoffs, game 7's a different sport from the playoffs. Now it's just all hands on deck. And we've seen many people melt under that spotlight before. Who is going to step up for the Cavs? It's got to obviously be Mitchell. And it's got to be Mitchell and Mobley. And if I have James Harden, just bring the ball up the floor and get your guys in an advantageous position to start playing some offense. Great White 85 says, Mobley is a soft player. He is afraid of the paint, which plays into Detroit's hands. I would agree with that, but he's a soft player now because the free throw situation is in his head. The free throw, he does not want to go up strong anymore because he's afraid of going to the free throw line. And that in turn is making people assume that Evan Mobley's motor has disappeared, his drive and motivation to be violent above the rim is not because he doesn't have this killer instinct, but the free throw thing is absolutely a thing. In the same way we saw Ben Simmons defer on that famous layup that was being defended by the mighty, colossal Trae Young, it wasn't that he was spooked by Trae or that he thought someone was coming over to like block a shot. He was thinking subconsciously, I don't want to shoot free throws. That's why I'm passing this thing as fast as I can. And I'm afraid that Mobley is getting awfully close to that despite 15 shots tonight. That's why he patrols the perimeter a lot more when he has the type of size that maybe even Scotty Barnes or Colin Murray Boyles can truly nullify. Raving fan says Mobley is a man amongst boys. He had 26 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and usually also gets blocks inside too. His potential has never been questioned. I am skeptical as to him being involved in the interior when the game really matters and he knows he's got to shoot free throws. That's all. Great White says that the Pistons were just listed at -9.5 for Sunday. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to check in. So Sunday, you're right. 9-point favorites here on ProfitX. Jeez. Wait, the San Antonio Spurs? That can't be right. 14.5. Cavaliers. Man, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. 8. They could pull away late too, but I think the angle here is on the Raptors Cavs, to take the 8 and then come back on the Cavs if the Raptors take a lead and create yourself a middle. So if the Raptors grab a double-digit lead, which feels inevitable in an NBA game, then you grab the Cavaliers live as a pick-em and you build yourself an 8-point window for some arbitrage opportunity with the potential of hitting that middle. Celtics laying 7.5 at home tomorrow. That game is either Celtics are going to win by 45 or they're going to lose by 20. Like, it's just math equation basketball. And they're betting that we are not going to shoot this poorly 4 out of 7 times. And right now it's 3 out of 6. So that goes either way. And in games like this, the 76ers and the Celtics with the scoring volatility is going to be so swingy due to the way that the Celtics shoot the basketball. You're always just taking plus everything, never laying anything minus. There's going to be swings. There'll be no wire-to-wire victory. So you're just picking teams and lines off as the game progresses. All right. What's up, Coach Mike? Oh, good point from Lucas in the chat, who says the Wolves going with all 3 bigs. That was an underrated storyline last night. That was an underrated storyline that they sent out Gobert, Randall, and Naz Reid for significant chunks because they had no other choice. That's like a super jumbo. That's a goal line lineup where you bring in the extra beef to play tight end and bring in the fullback. And then they had McDaniels, who's almost 7 feet himself. That's got to be one of the biggest lineups since what the Nuggets did in the bubble, where they had Bobo, Plumlee, Millsap, Jokic. Remember, where everyone was almost 7 feet? But yeah, plus 11, I think that lineup was in the first half. They may have ended plus 6 or something, but it was a significant amount of minutes, and the lack of spacing did not seem to really matter. It certainly helps when you have more athletes than the other side. AJ's asking thoughts on Lakers OKC. OKC in 4. Paolo's box score is hilarious. Oh God, how bad was he tonight? I got to give him a pass because he really struggled at the end of the regular season. We were calling him out for not being able to hit a shot. Then he really played well for a couple week stretch. God, what is Paolo Banchero? 4 of 20, 0 of 9 from beyond the arc. He goes for 17, 10, and 6. Didn't turn the ball over though. That's not so bad. But yeah, quite inefficient. Yikes. What do you think the shot chart looks like? Not great. A lot of those threes were in rhythm, too. Oh, well. All right. Resident Hawks fan here says Coach Mike was at game 4. Maybe I'm bad luck. It was downhill from there on, perhaps. No amount of luck was saving the Hawks after the Knicks figured it out. They got to be the favorites in the East now. I tried to tell you guys, but I guess my word means nothing when I said with conviction that the Nuggets were coming back. I did nail the Knicks series, though. I said Knicks. Not only did I say Knicks in 6, but the Knicks will win every single game on the glass, and that they did. So I missed one, and I got one right. Have I already talked about Cade? Yeah. Coney. Let's see. Bro, I can wait you out all night. You can just keep typing shit into the chat, thinking like it's going to tilt me. You know who you're dealing with here? Just keep typing into the abyss. I promise that you will just leave the stream at some point out of apathy. Dealing with a final boss here. I'd never punch down. Are there any non-Timberwolves fans in the chat that want to talk about tonight's games? Oh, there's YouTube. Harrison Barnes will earn every penny this upcoming season. And the Kawhi shot. Yeah. 38-point swing if those happen. If those happen to exist. I was listening to Iron Eagle because there was a point where the Rockets only had 25 points with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. And Iron Eagle goes, the Rockets only have 25 points with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in the half. And I'm like, that's found gold compared to what we saw the Magic do earlier. I mean, they set almost every record possible for 19 points scored in a quarter or in a half, 23 straight missed shots. The only other times that 20-plus straight misses have occurred was some Jazz game and some games in the 2000s. But, I mean, just historical futility. What's up, Max? Says, what matchup do you want to see between the Pistons Magic and Cavs Raptors? Pistons Magic. I would love to just see a repeat of game 5. Just Paolo versus Cade, because this game is so slow, so in the half court, no fast break points. I just want Cade versus Paolo. May the best man win. That would interest me a lot. I want to see if Paolo's up to run that back, because Cade most certainly is. Cavs Raptors. Harden. This is Game 7, James Harden. So it's got to be James Harden with the spotlight on him yet again in the same spot he was in last year. What's he going to look like in a Game 7 And then on the other side, it's got to be just Scotty Barnes in that defense, which is Scotty Barnes might be Defensive Player of the Year if Victor Wembanyama somehow doesn't qualify. Like Scotty Barnes will win a Defensive Player of the Year if Victor Wembanyama does not qualify. Otherwise, Wemby's going to win it every season. Scotty Barnes is sensational. That full court dunk where he just like reached back, threw it down, got back on defense, knocked the ball out of bounds out of James Harden. Then he's fucking stomping and like barking and screaming. There was so much momentum I felt through the television screen after that. Who is the good question from Jane. Jane Stacy is asking, who's the playoff MVP? Who is the playoff MVP of each conference so far? In the East? It's either Brunson or Cade. Because how would it be Embiid or Maxey? They've kind of been flip-flopping big-time performances. It's got to be Brunson or Cade. Let's see how Cade does in Game 7. In the West? Wemby. Good question, though. Love that question. Lucas reminds the chat that Harden had 7 points last year's Game 7. And he almost had more turnovers than buckets tonight. Granted, he was doing some other stuff, but I just hate the offense. And sometimes it's not his fault, especially when Donovan Mitchell just waves him and says, I need a breather. Like, what else are the Cavs supposed to do? So Harden is forced into, I just hate that offense, guys, so much. I hate it. Red Panda has been, every night she's been in a different arena. I wonder what the record is when Red Panda shows up. Oh, good question from Alex McKindles. Says, do you think Cade operates better as a 1 or a 2? He's a 1. But that's a good question because a lot of these great scores, I could argue Donovan Mitchell operates better as a 2. But we talked about this last night, how the traditional 1 through 5, 1 equals point guard, 2 equals shooting guard, 3 equals small forward, 4 equals power forward. You know, it's 5 is center. A 1 is the traditional point guard is supposed to be the floor general and table setter. Now it's lead guard, combo guard, 2, 3, and D guys, and a floor stretching center. That's the ideal construct of a lineup in 2026. And I think Cade Cunningham needs to be a lead guard because he is just that good at creating for others, and his gravity will always find a way to get people open just with his mere presence. That's a 1 to me. A 2 is someone who punishes a defense off of someone else's gravity, either through catch and shooting, putting the ball on the floor, they get to the rim like a demon. That's more of a combo guard. Hopefully that makes sense, but good question. Yeah, Swish says, I agree with Wemby as Western Conference MVP, but yeah, I mean, how do you not give it to Shea? Because OKC just makes it look too easy. But we know the importance of Wemby. We've seen the charts of like what an opposing team gets up when he's on the floor. It's just how different it is. YouTube chat is saying that Red Panda better get 80-20 on her cut. I am because I know the business. So she's probably got a booking agent that takes 10%. She has another agent at a major shop that's taking 10%, even 20% on marketing deals. Well, let's just say gigs are 10%. So there's at least 80/20. She's got to pay taxes on the full amount. And if I'm correct, she also pays for her full expenses, which she includes in her appearance fee. But I remember reading an article about the economics of the halftime shows, and I think they're only making a couple $1,000s every time they do a show. So they work 3 times a week because of travel at most. So let's see, 3 times 3. They're grossing 9,000 a week after taxes. It's closer to like you're taking home 6,020. Yeah, I mean it's a decent wage, but I don't think it's as much as people think. But she's doing something she loves, so God bless. What is this comment from Swish 405? Wob, let me know when we are done talking hoop. Lotso Huggenbear. Lotso Huggenbear would like to tell you thank you for Laney. What does that mean? Introducing you to Laney? Not gonna lie, I may be cheating on Laney with Ella Langley. So good. So good. But they're both great, yeah. They're practically my entire playlist. There's a good comment from Kevin Hintz. Evan Mobley has stunted Mobley's development. That's pretty fair. I agree. 9,000 a week. 9,000 a week pre-tax may sound like a lot to someone who doesn't have a lot of money, but think of that lifestyle. She's on a plane in a different hotel, like just nonstop traveling all the time, and you have to be well enough to perform. It's a rough life, man. But because she loves it so much, I don't want to make it sound like she's going through something that she doesn't prefer, because she would just, stop doing it. But she is always on the move. And I would think that appearance fee is about right. And remember, you're paying that 20% to your booking agent, and that's the minimum. Your booking agent, your manager, and then you pay tax on the full gross. So she's probably making a very decent wage, but it's a lot of work. Big Hustler, what's happening? Says, hey, Wob, what do you think the Raptors need to improve for next season to get to the next level? I would love to see Colin Murray Boyles have some sort of front court help there. How do you pair him with someone that can unleash what he does best? They need front court help. The Raptors need front court depth badly. They need some more floor spacing, because even though RJ Barrett made that shot tonight, RJ and Brandon Ingram are not known for their three-point shooting prowess. That's why honestly, the loss of Emmanuel Quickley is more detrimental than the loss of Brandon Ingram, considering what Quickley provides that offense. We want to talk about like a true table setter and guy who can, us Knicks fans know how important Quick is at prioritizing that floor spacing, getting you buckets off the dribble. Like, they just don't have that guy right now. They're asking Jamal Shed, who's brought up as like a defender. He's their version of Deuce McBride to go out there and like run offense. Like who's running the offense right now for Toronto? Even in these victories, I still can't tell you. Scotty works best as a free safety, kind of floating around. They got plenty of those 3 and D guys, but they're a little out of balance. So I want to find a way to get Colin Murray-Boyles some support and a complementary piece, but also a full-time floor general to be putting Scotty Barnes in a position to succeed. Does that make sense? I think Brandon Ingram is very available. And for the most part, he did not show up in these playoffs again after a no-show versus Oklahoma City when he was in New Orleans. Brandon Ingram, I would move on from. It's either him or RJ. But RJ provides you so much more. Like RJ has one of the highest floors and lowest ceilings, in my opinion, of a mainstay in any rotation. He's just such a like the consummate professional who will never be a superstar. And that's fine. That's not an insult. He does a lot well. He's a hard-nosed defender. He's always available. He can rebound. He's got size. I'm moving on from Brandon Ingram, personally. Will we ever see Red Panda perform in Portland again, given Tom Dundon's frugalness? What are those halftime shows going to look like in Portland if he's not paying out of pocket, if he's trying to save? Because those are, whether it's the Amazing Sladek, Red Panda, Christian and Scooby, some of those magicians, they cost between $5,000 and $10,000 a night. Or you can bring someone in off the street who's just going to balance a chainsaw on their chin. Or you put a little kid out there, we'll give you the platform to sing at an NBA game. We're just not going to pay you. Yeah, I that's an underrated storyline, an underrated league pass storyline going into next season. I'm going to be watching Portland halftime shows to see just how cheap they get. Hey, Austin's in YouTube who says, going to my first playoff game this weekend. Do you have any good memories from going to playoff games? Well, not a lot, because the ones that I went to were as a kid watching the New York Knicks lose to the Bulls, or I was there in the arena for 8 points in 9 seconds by Reggie Miller. All the times that the Larry Johnson 4-point play happened. The only good memory, the first one that comes to mind is I went to Game 6 at Market Square Arena in 1994, where the Knicks were down 3-2 after losing Game 5, and the series was just like over. It's one of the most devastating losses that I can remember in my life. And it's like, oh, well, the Pacers are going to go close this out. And that was the game. John Starks walks across the floor at the end of the final buzzer and daps up Spike Lee 3 times and says, let's go back to the Garden. And then the Patrick Ewing tip slam in Game 7. So I'd say that was my fondest memory of being at a playoff game. But I haven't been to anytime I've been to the finals between the Raptors and the Warriors. I've been to so much, but it's mostly for work. And once you start like doing this for a job, you start losing your passion as a fan, which is quite unfortunate. And I'm not complaining, being able to pay the bills by doing this kind of shit, but you do kind of transition away from just using this as an outlet for entertainment versus a profession. I think anybody can relate to that with whatever it is that you do as well. Jane Stacy's asking, who would be the most important Knick in either the Knicks Sixers or Knicks Celtics? Karl Anthony Towns, easily. Easily. The Knicks go as Karl Anthony Towns goes. Jalen Brunson's the floor. Karl Anthony Towns is the ceiling. When the offense runs through him, it's a whole new world. Jalen Brunson can still get up his 25, 30 shots a night as long as the offense, the entry pass goes to Cat, and he's the one making the decisions. His sphere of influence is what the final result of the play is. I'm fine with that as long as I'm fine with the results as long as that's the process. But OG Anunoby has been the guy that's found a way to bail us out of a lot of these grenade half-court set spots too. but I'll go with Cat to answer your question. Alex McKindles is asking, who has the most to lose in tomorrow's Game 7? Probably can't beat Tatum or Embiid due to return from injury or surgery. Who has the most to lose as an individual? Joe Mazzulla. If they blow this series, Mazzulla Ball could be dead. Mazzulla Ball shot them out of 20-point victories against the Knicks last playoffs. And if Mazzulla Ball fails, we're going to move away from like getting up 53s as a viable option in today's game. That'll be the narrative coming out of this one. Mazzulla Ball dying. I don't know if that's reality, but that's what people will be suggesting. Dog races are expensive, man. Getting those professional kennels in there to do the dog races. How many NBA games have I gone to? Like as a fan or for work? Hundreds, plural. It gets a little exhausting. Austin says, okay, that is pretty sick. It's expensive. I'm a Lakers fan. I bought tickets to Detroit Game 7 from my friend. So go Pistons. Well, Pistons tickets are going to be a lot less expensive than Lakers tickets. I'll tell you that much, because I've got Lakers tickets and they are not cheap. There was a dude balancing stuff on his chin for Game 3 in Portland. Tom, I didn't even know that. And I could tell you Tom Dundon was going to hire that dude. He's cheap. Not Tom Dundon, the guy that's balancing shit. He's a cheap act. He just wants to go out there and balance shit on his chin. He's not that expensive. Do I ever think about taking calls again? Maybe if I guess I could always do it through Spaces, but the live audio days are kind of over. And I do a radio show where we take calls. Do a radio show every day. We have people call in 855 NBA Jump. Who scares me more, Philly or Boston? I've thought about this. I think if this game was played on a neutral floor, I would actually rather play Boston. But considering that the Knicks would have home court against Philly, I think that does matter. And I would like Philly to win. I also can't trust the health of Joel Embiid. Like, he can go down at any moment, and then all of a sudden you have a significant advantage. And with the Celtics, I mean, sometimes it doesn't even matter who they have on the floor. They're just going to run the same shit over and over again. And you're at the mercy of if they're making their shots that night or not. Anne Hathaway is the Eastern Conference playoff MVP. Is she not just like, if she's not everyone's hall pass, Anne Hathaway is in blood as Worldwide Wob's hall pass. Like, she is perfect. Perfect. I cannot wait to see Devil Wears Prada 2. The perfect celebrity. She stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't like really speak on anything publicly. I love how she just exists. She's the same way Michael Jordan just doesn't do interviews hardly ever, or at least used to before he started winning NASCAR races. Just stay off the internet and stay out of the public eye. All that will do is continue to build your mystique and your profile. There is brand value in just everyone always wondering, I wonder what that guy is up to. And Anne Hathaway is an A-list actress that I would consider to be in that category. Fun fact, I went bowling next to Cameron Diaz and Zoe D. I forgot her name. They were in the lane right next to us with their families. Seemed quite nice. What happened to the burrito drops? I just kind of stopped doing them. I don't know. How annoyed would Antonio be with me during a Knicks finals run? Well, he'd be more annoyed that I won't admit because I'm doing a national radio show where a lot of people don't know me personally. The average radio listener only tunes in for like 15 minutes and they may be introduced to me for the first time. So I like to put on this facade that I'm an objective national radio host. And he's just on a mission to make sure everyone knows if I ever speak on the Knicks, it's because I'm a fan. And I'm like, stop doing that. I'm like, let me just give my points in a vacuum. And we don't have to premise this by qualifying what I say, like, oh, this is coming from a Knicks fan. But he's my boy. Anne Hathaway is like 50. Who cares? The hall pass, there's 3 on a hall pass. And it is Anne Hathaway, Elizabeth Hurley, and Carmen Electra. All of them are probably near or above 50. Anne Hathaway is timeless. She's not 50. She's not 40. She's not 60. She's timeless. I am a man of taste, clearly. I'm a man of class. Braden says it'd be cool to have Antonio back in the OKC broadcast, but question, have you ever considered calling games live? It's a completely different art. I don't have the experience to be a play-by-play guy, and I am not formally an NBA player that can be an analyst. I don't think I would qualify as one. I would have to be working for a team as like an assistant coach or something. So I don't think that is going to be a job for me. You can be more of a reaction, which is what I've been doing, reaction guy. Just a knowledged reaction guy. I'm quite content with every decision I've made throughout my career has been the right one. Which places to work for, which places to sign with, partners to sign with. I can stop doing this tomorrow and be very pleased with how it all went. I've been at this since like 2012, long before many of you were even on the internet. Yeah, Carmen Electra, easily. Hathaway, Hurley, Electra. That's Wobb's 3. Hall pass list. Not even close. As you can tell, I date older. I date usually young. They're usually in their young to mid 40s. Which League Pass announcing team do I wish called national games? Oh, good. That's a great question. So which of these? So national games would be 2 teams that they don't normally call because they've been trying to do Eric Collins and Del Curry for non-Hornets games, and I thought it's actually gone pretty decently because Eric Collins can get honestly a little annoying with how many times he screams when LaMelo Ball makes a layup and makes the score 4-2. But I thought they've done a decent job with their national broadcasts. But if I had to pick one crew, I'll go with Joel Myers and Antonio. I think they would be a fantastic. Joel's done Lakers. He's done national. Did he do Seattle? I think he did. Wait, Joel Myers did San Antonio. Yeah, man, that's the answer. Joel Myers and Antonio. Because Antonio is as knowledgeable about the NBA nationally as anyone out there. Joel did Blazers too? Wait, so Joel's done Sonics, Blazers, Spurs, Lakers, Pelicans, and National? Fucking legend, man. You know what? Hold on. I'll get to that comment in just 1 second. Good question, though, Jane. Tommy Donnie says, brother did video analytics for the Milwaukee Bucks. That is a brutal existence. I have no desire to do that. Holy shit. You just want to sit there and cut tape and crunch numbers and put together film that the player hardly watches. Like, hell no. And you get paid practically minimum wage. All you get to do is put that shit on your resume. And it's very rare that you can ascend, climb the ladder to get to like assistant GM. You got to be doing that shit forever. You know how long it took Spoelstra to get there, man? You got to be committed to that for your entire life. The Thunder are good, but 1,500 is disrespectful. That's it for Lakers Thunder series? Hold on. Did they put out the oh, it's not up on ProfitX yet. So I'm assuming you're saying that the Thunder are minus 1,500 or plus 1,500. Because if they're minus 1,500, that's a steal. But if it's plus 1,500, that means the Thunder are going to be minus 4,000. We'll see when ProfitX pops this line. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me finish the Twitter's comments, then I'll get back to you, YouTube. I see you guys are asking a couple of things over here. What is this Wolves guy? Don't worry. They ran out of gas. I told you they would. They're just young kids who talk a lot of shit. Oh, Stacey King and Adam Amin. Yeah, Stacey is kind of a Bulls guy, but Calabro did Seattle. Okay, that makes sense. I thought Calabro and Joel Myers are so similar to me. Similar cadence and style and delivery. Oh, Jim Jackson is on every broad. Jim Jackson has got to be one of the best analysts, man. Good shout out, Vegan Barbie. Jim Jackson is he comes on our radio show sometimes. I would put him up there with Antonio and someone that can eloquently speak on the game like that and understands it nationally. And he has really good attention to detail. I would consider him to be the most underrated analyst because he's not on any like A-team national broadcasts, but I think he has the skill to. He just needs a little bit more like name recognition, right? What's up, Helwick? Were you at the game tonight covering it in Houston? Oh, would you coach if asked, Wob? Antonio has told me if he ever became a head coach, I would be his replay assistant. The guy who has the iPad that goes like, my whole job is to do this. Is there anyone better on the planet at watching games and understanding the rules and making a decision within 5 seconds, recognizing something to put on the internet? You go thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up means challenge. Thumbs down means don't challenge. He's like, you'll be my replay coordinator if I'm ever a head coach. I'm going to hold him to that. So technically I'm an assistant coach, but I'm really just the guy with the iPad at the end of the bench that everyone yells at. Challenge that shit. Challenge. You better challenge it. And I'm just the whole game I'm going to be. We're not challenging shit unless it's completely obvious because we're holding that challenge for the fourth quarter. Everything is just thumbs down unless it's a high leverage spot. We're not challenging out of bounds bullshit, you know. Oh, Lakers are plus 1,500. That would mean that the OKC Thunder are like minus 3,000. Yeah, that's more appropriate. I have coached, but like kids. I would love to be a varsity coach. I'm not going to be an NBA coach, but I would love to be a varsity, like high school coach. That would be a lot of fun. I may do that when I finally retire from doing all this shit. I really enjoy coaching kids. I'm just not, I don't know if I'm ready to do it for this generation just yet. Helwick says, I'm currently in the Toyota Center right now. Did you get some interviews in the post-game press conference? Did you go to the Rocket side or did you go to the Lakers side with your time? Speaking of reporting, we got one right now. Helwick has found his way to a credential here in Houston. So even the commenters are grinding out here, trying to make a name for themselves. Shout out Helwick. Lakers, right. Oh, King Mescuti says, is that a new job role or did they exist before reviews? It's a new job role. That's everyone's retirement goal, Braden. Get enough money that you can just live a preferred lifestyle. You don't need a 200-foot yacht and 4 mansions. Get enough money that you can enjoy your lifestyle. Take it from someone who is now almost 40 and does not need a fucking mansion and a yacht. Get enough money. You can take care of your family. You can do whatever you want. And then you can spend your day coaching basketball, football, golf, baseball with your day. You do something keeps you busy. That lifestyle is so desirable. I play tennis. I go to the jacuzzi. I go to the beach. I'll never be a gazillionaire, and I really have no aspiration to be. That time it's going to take me to get to that point. By the time I do, I'll have wasted my entire 30s and 40s. I'm traveling right now. Like I'm spending my life and time traveling. And I find that that's just my personal preference. It's what I want to do. Time is something that even the richest person in the world, we can't prevent death from happening. So make the most of it, of your youth while you still have it. Be friends with the guy in the yacht. I have that. That's exactly what I have. I'm on a yacht all the time. Let me get back to this YouTube question from I Romero 89. Am I somewhat embarrassed on how hard it's been for you to monetize your online persona? It seems that you would have landed a bigger opportunity already with how loyal your following has been. Are you somewhat embarrassed on how hard it's been? I'm not embarrassed. I would say I'm quite proud of the audience that we've built all of these years. And I have monetized my audience quite well without ever asking for a cent from it. I could retire tomorrow, be fine for the rest of my life. So no, I'm not embarrassed, and it's actually preferred. I've never been a subscription service. When we partner with someone like ProfitX or some of my sponsors in the past, it's kind of up to you. If you're interested in that kind of thing, we just prefer you use one site over another, or one business or company over another. That's why ProfitX is here. I have bootstrapped this business as a sole proprietorship for the last 15 years. I'm a one-man show. It's a blessing and a curse. The curse is your ceiling is lower than if you were building a network and you start add resources. Think of all the major blogs and businesses that have evolved into conglomerates, major money-making machines. They gross more money, but they have employees, they have offices, they have equipment, they have expenditures. I am a very low overhead shop, so the money that comes in is profit. It's not going to be a business that you end up selling for millions and millions of dollars, but if you find the right partner, you'll be surprised on just how profitable it can be, as long as you are willing to take on a lot of that work, which is done when most of you are sleeping. When I'm cutting up videos, when I used to do monologues and investigations all the time, like that shit is overnight, takes 5 hours. The editing process is not seen by others. I'm the one doing that. I don't have any people that I pay to do clips or, produce my videos for me. I'm the one chopping all that shit up all the time. I'm the one watching the games. I'm the one doing the radio shows and these shows and setting all that shit up. Then you're doing your own business deals. Oh, by the way, you have to go live a life at some point too. Hopefully that answers your question. Wolves guy said, can't afford healthcare, still got a wrist brace after all these years. I have had this wrist brace on since 2012 when I started my first ticketing company. What was it? Yeah, 2012. This is the wrist brace I ordered. Still on the hand. I didn't really start committing to content full time until 2015. I was still doing it on the side, but I was running the ticket business for 3 years. We ended up selling it to a subsidiary of Ticketmaster, and then they were right down the street. So it was very easy to go be an acqui-hired employee and then just naturally shifted into content as blogs and Twitter started to really take off. I was already like full-time on it. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer career questions or basketball questions. Usually when the chat goes quiet, it's because you guys are listening or sleeping. It's a Friday night. But yeah, a much more low overhead content creator. I do not reinvest the money that is earned into like upgrading the, if anything, I go backwards. The technology gets worse. This has always been a very low overhead, lo-fi style production. I find it to be much more authentic, and it's been the right choice. I'll tell you that much. I could have started a network like some of these other, either people or sports brands that you associate with that have grown in popularity. I've had offers in the past to do that, but then you're committing to the brand. Then you have investors, then you have employees, and I do not want to be building a brand with the purpose of trying to sell it someday, because then you can just never leave it. I love my sovereignty and being flexible. I love making my own schedule. I like playing. You can't be playing tennis in the middle of the day when a lot of your employees are working 9 to 5. Like I've done enough that I can live this type of lifestyle where I can pick my computer up like I'm about to do this summer. I'm going to Vietnam for 2 weeks, and I'm still going to do shows, radio shows. I'm still going to be covering NBA. I can just pick up and go. Like that to me is so intriguing. And if you told me I could have $10 million, but I'd have to be in an office from Monday through Saturday, collaborating with other people that I may or may not like, that is just not something I've ever been interested in. Probably also another reason why I haven't, the jobs that I've had working for sports networks, of which I've been at many, I'm just not not that I'm a bad team player, but I'm always doing shit on my own. So I kind of beat the market to, I understood that back in the early 2010s that you need to build an individual profile that you can take everywhere, own your IP, so that when the day comes that you have a sponsor, you can sell them exclusivity on something that you own. If everyone's in the 2010s was trying to work for ESPN, Fox, or some of those up and coming blog networks, your popularity and audience is leveraged against you because you need the network to reach that audience. It's very difficult to separate from it and take those people with you. So I was always building an individual profile while at those networks. So I was more looking out for myself than whoever like the VP was, which is probably why they all don't like me, but whatever. Have my parents ever watched this stream? I don't think so. Maybe during COVID or something. LBTB says, what a fucking weird thing to ask and speak on, that you have little to no understanding of, I don't know what that says, him, of how it is. Some people are delusional. Are you saying that? I think you're saying that about the commenter, not me. Days says, you are very unique in that aspect. I'm unique in that I have always been a lone wolf on a pirate ship, for sure. Bootlegging shit. You don't make a lot of friends this way. So you have to have the type of personality where you just are apathetic towards community and other people's opinions. I get yelled at all day, every day by somebody. I really don't care. We have police chase. Police chase. We have police chase. People, it's been a pleasure. I need to go set up for a police chase. We'll carry this into the future. But it has been a pleasure. I'll be right back. Please chase. Birds in the air. I'll be live in a minute. See you guys.